times. Okay. All right. Thank you and welcome to today's training. Today we're going to be going through SharePoint Online training. And I understand from last week training that a little about it has been introduced to us, and I'm just going to brush over again. I'm going to be touching the most relevant aspect of the SharePoint Admin Center. So, like we know, we're not going to be using any slide. It's just going to be practical, like we're doing it real life. Okay. All right. So when we say SharePoint Online, all right, SharePoint Online is one of the applications that you have access to when you subscribe to Microsoft 365. Okay, and from last week training, you know how to get into Office 365 environment from office.com, or you go to portal.office.com where you get to this particular environment. Okay, so as soon as you have your subscriptions and you have your username and credentials, once you log in, you're able to log into this environment. Okay, then you come to this app launcher. You see SharePoint as one of the applications that you have access to. Okay, so but before we go into this, we want to start from the administrative aspect of SharePoint. Okay, you and as an admin, as a technical support engineer, I think that's one of the purpose of this training. As a technical support engineer, you are supposed to know the back end of what you are supporting, like know the in and out of how this works, some of the settings that you need to put in place for this application to work as expected. Okay. All right, just a brief introduction of SharePoint Online. All right, so we have some, I'm going to be defining SharePoint Online with some keywords. When you talk about document management, okay, then you're talking about SharePoint. It's a platform that gives you the opportunity to manage your documents effectively. When you talk about collaboration, yeah, SharePoint Online gives you the capability to be able to collaborate with your team members. And not only that, you can also collaborate with people within and outside the organizations. Okay. Then talk about intranet sites. You can use SharePoint to create intranet sites. I think that introduction is enough for now. So let's go deep into the training proper. So you can see the admin center. Okay, so before we start, how do we get to this particular place called SharePoint Admin Center? So from Office 365, when you go into the Office 365 Admin Center, you click on Show All on the left menu. Then you scroll down, you have all the admin center here. You have Exchange Admin Center, you have SharePoint Admin Center, you have Teams Admin Center. So as soon as you click on SharePoint here, then it will take you to SharePoint Admin Center. All right, so once you get to this particular place, then you see all this information that you have here. So the first thing that you have here is active sites. Okay, these are active sites. The word active means currently these are the available sites that you have in your organization that you have created, and some of these sites are created by default. Some of them you be the one to create it. Okay, so if you see, we have so many of them from my environment that I've created. And then if you see some of the headings, you see the site name. This is the name you give to your site when you create your site. And this is the URL that you get as soon as you create your site. It comes, you get a URL attached to that particular site, so that at any point in time you want to access that particular site, you need to click on the URL to take you to that site. Okay. We have some other headings. We have channel sites. That is, if your site is connected to channel, okay, then you see it. See the option here saying how many sites is connected or not. Then here you see storage used. This represents all the storage used by your SharePoint site. I don't really have any site that have heavy usage. Like most of the, it's just 0.0 gigabytes. So this storage is measured in gigabytes. Don't forget, it's always measured in gigabytes. So talking about storage, that brings me to this particular place where we have the tenant storage for your SharePoint. So as soon as you buy your subscriptions, so the number of seat counts that you have determines the storage that will be allocated to your site collection. So the storage you are looking at this top right hand corner here, it represents the total storage that you have in your site collection as a whole. So every site that you create here, they will be tapping from this tenant storage. So as soon as you exhaust this, it's either you buy additional storage or you start looking for a way to delete any unwanted site. Okay, so let's move on. Then under the primary admin, this is the name of the people of the user that create the site. Okay, any concern? Okay. All right, so then I'll proceed to templates. Under templates, now we have different type of SharePoint sites. We have team site, we have communication sites, we have document sites, we have classic site. Although classic site is almost fading out, okay, it's no longer in use, but we still have it somewhere, okay. Then we have last activity. So we have some of these heading that are actually self-explanatory. The last activity, the date you created your site, who created the site, then the storage limit. So you can actually set a storage limit for a particular site that, okay, on this particular site, I only want to allocate maybe 2 gigabytes to this site. So this is where you get to see the storage limit for that site. Then the storage used. Then we also have Microsoft 365 group. This will show you the sites that are connected to Office 365 group. So it's not all the SharePoint sites that are connected to Office 365 group. So some of them are connected, some are not connected. Mostly team sites are the one connected to Office 365. Communication sites are not always connected to Microsoft 365 group. Okay, we're going to see all of this by the time we'll create any one of them. Okay. All right, so we have external sharing. If your site is enabled for external sharing, you see the settings here, and I think that's all for that. So talking about active sites, so that's some of the information we need to know about active sites. So if you want to access any of your SharePoint site that you create, all you need to do, like I said, is just to click on so that you search for it. If you know the name of the site, you just search for the name of the site here, then you click on the URL, then it will take you to where the site is located. Okay, so you don't click on, you can also click on the name. Okay, you can also click on the name of the site, and then you come to site address, and you click on the URL, and it will take you there. Okay, all right, let's proceed to deleted site. Okay, deleted site is just like opposite of active sites. Okay, any site that has been deleted from here is going to be relocated to this particular place. Let's say, for example, I delete this site now, this try site. Okay, so if you see that, if you see here, you can't find delete button. Okay, so anything you are looking for and you can't find it, once you click on this 3 dots, we call it ellipsis button, you will see other options available on this site. Okay, so let's say I delete this site, for example, then I will find it. So let me reduce this so that we can see some of the, yeah. So this has been deleted. If I go to deleted site, okay, I should be able to see the site here. Okay, so this is the site. Okay, all right, so any site that is not active that has been deleted will be here. Okay, and they will be here for the period of 93 days. If you still need the site at any point in time, all you need to do is just to click on this, and you click on restore, and the site will be restored back to where it was deleted. But you have to do this within the period of 93 days. After 93 days, if you don't restore it, it will be permanently purged and deleted. Okay. All right. Let's move on to, so maybe you want us to check this site that I restored. Can you see site restored? And if you search for it again, you see the site is back to active site. Okay. All right. So it can be taking note of your question. If you have any question, you can drop it in the chat, or you just take notes. So when we are done, you can just feel free to ask your questions regarding this. Okay. So talking about containers, active containers, deleted containers. So basically, this is for like any custom applications that you create or that you embedded or integrated into your SharePoint site. This is like their repository where their storage is, where they will be storing their files. Okay, and if you want to export any of them, you want to delete any one of them, you have option to delete, you have option to export them. And if you've deleted any of the containers, you see them here as well. Okay, then I'll move on to policies. Okay, so this is one of the core aspect of SharePoint, policies, because this is what controls whatever happens within the SharePoint environment. Okay, the settings you have here determines how people can share how people can collaborate, who they can collaborate with at any point in time. If you look at this bar, all this bar, they represent the permission level for each of these applications. So we are talking about SharePoint today, so I'll just stick to SharePoint. I'm not going to mention OneDrive. So next week we're going to talk about OneDrive. So if you look at SharePoint, for example, it's at anyone with the link. So this bar is at anyone with the link. If I drag it down, it moves to new and existing guest. Okay. If I drag it down again, it moves to existing guest. If I drag it down to the least permissive level, then it moves to this level. So what does this anyone means? What does it mean? So it means that whenever you have these settings there and you share with anybody, when you share the site, it doesn't require anybody that come in contact of that sharing link. It doesn't require them to log in. They will be able to log in freely without asking them for any credential to log in. That's what it means. Okay. Then if you have this set to new and existing guest, it means that everybody in your organization will be able to access the SharePoint, and then you have opportunity to be able to invite any external person to the site, both new and existing. Okay, it covers both new guest or new external user and the existing external user. So it gives them the opportunity to be able to have access to the SharePoint site. And then if you say, okay, I don't want to invite anybody again, I only want to maintain the people that I've invited already to my site, then you have to put it here. So that is existing guest. So only existing guest. So at any point in time, if anybody try to share with any new guest user, they won't be able to do that because the settings is set to only existing guests. Okay. Then if you now say, okay, you don't want to collaborate with anybody outside your organization, then that is why you need to put it here. Okay. So when you put the settings there, that means whatever you are doing on the site is just within the organization. If you try to share the site externally, you won't be able to do that. It will give you a message. Okay. All right, so that's that about that. And then we also have some other settings here that control. Don't forget I said whatever you do here controls what happens in the SharePoint site. Okay. If you want to limit external sharing by domain, okay, let's say for example you don't want people to share your site with a particular domain, then you come here and then you put the domain here. So it's either you have two options. It's either you say, okay, only allow this specific domain, maybe yahoo.com, for example. Okay, this is the only domain you want to allow people to share with. You can just put it there and then click on save. Then it should be recorded that, okay, this is the only domain, external domain that people in your organization can share the site with. You can also use the other option to block. So whichever one you want to do, you can say, okay, I'm suspecting this particular domain. I don't want people to collaborate with them. Okay, let's say, for example, let me just say, I don't know the domain I can use now. Let me say ola.com, for example. It's just an example. Okay, I know such might not exist. So you just put it there and then click on save. So if any of your user is trying to share the SharePoint site with any user on this particular domain, it will not allow them to do that. Okay, so this is what this does. Okay, and then we also have other ones: allow guest users to share items they don't own, allow only user in specific group to share externally. So yeah, you can also control who gets the access to share externally. So this gives you the permission to do that. All right, so we have a lot of settings. Okay, we have file and folders, links. So all these ones, they control what you get to see at first when you open your SharePoint site and you want to share the site. Okay, these are the default sharing link, okay, that you get to see. And then these are the default sharing permission that you get to see when you want to share your site. All right, so I think I need to do something now. So let me just create a site and then try to show you some of these things that we're talking about. Okay. I'm going back to active site. Don't forget I said we have active sites. Any site that is here, they are active sites. Okay. So I want to show you how to create a SharePoint site now. Okay. So for you to create a SharePoint site, you come to this active site. When you come to this active site, then you click on create. All right. There are two major types of sites that you always see when you want to create site. You have team sites, we have communication sites. Okay. And this particular one, whichever you want, it depends on what you will select. If you want to collaborate, like within your team, both of them allow collaborations actually, but the interface differs and the purpose differs. Okay, so like this particular one, it comes with Office 365 groups, while this other one doesn't come with Office 365 groups. So let's start with this particular one, team site. So you click on team site, then you'll be presented with a lot of templates depending on the project you want to do, depending on what you want to achieve. So for now, we're going to select the standard template. Then we're going to click on use template. Then you give it a name. Let's say SPO training. All right. So at any time you are creating your site, as soon as you put the name of the site, the system will check if the site name is available or not. If the site name is not available, it will tell you. So can you see now that this site is available? That means the name is available for me to use. If I try to use a name that is already used on the system, okay, it will not allow me. Like for example, I have a site called FD. If I try to use that name now, it will tell me this name is not, can you see, is already existing. Okay, so that's what that does. So SPO, let me just change it back to SPO training. All right, so it's going to verify it and let me know if it's available. All right, so once I put the name, it will populate all that information. Then I need to put my email address as the group owner because I'm the one creating it. If you want to add other persons too, you can do that. But at any point in time when you are creating a SharePoint site, you can only add one group owner at the point of creating it. So after creating the site, you can add other group owners. So I'm going to click on next. Here you have privacy settings. Okay, we have two options here. We have the public, we have the private. If you want anyone in the organization to have access to this site, you select this. If you want only members, the only people that you had as a member to have access to the site, that you select this. Okay, so we leave it at default. Then here, this is where you select the language that you want. English. There so many languages that you can select. So we're going to stick to English, and you select your time zone is here. So you can leave this as default. Then you click on create site. So for now, adding member is not necessary. You can always do that after creating the site. You can always do that. So it's currently applying the template to create the SharePoint site. So just wait for that. Okay, so this is done. Then you click on finish. All right, so the site has been created. So if I want to look for the site, being that I have a lot of sites, instead of scrolling, I can just search for the name of the site here, SPO. Then this is it, training. You click on it to navigate to the SharePoint site. Okay. All right, so this is the SharePoint site that we've created. All right, so I'm going to go back to the the SharePoint Admin Center. So just to explain some of the things that I was trying to explain under this particular sharing. So I purposely created that site so that I can be able to communicate this information to you in a way that you understand it. Okay, so like for example, I was explaining this file and folders link. Okay, is that choose the type of file that's selected by. So if you want to, let's create a site, let's create a test file. I will just be switching between this particular site and the admin center. Okay, so there are two ways in which you can create, in fact not is even more than two ways to create any document in your SharePoint site. Okay, on the left menu here, we have document library. This is what we call document library. It comes by default. It comes by default to the site. And you have opportunity to create your own document library as well. Okay, I'm going to show us how to do that later. So in this particular document library is where you create your files and your folders and whatever you want to create, that's where you create it. So if you want to create an item, you come to new, Let's say you want to create a Word document, click on that, you allow it to load, then you give it a name, just waiting for that to come up. Okay, so currently it's going to give it a default name, which is documents. So if I want to change that name, I'll just click on this place. And I will say, let's say I want to use file 1 as my name, as the name of the file. Okay. All right. So if I go back, if I close it and then just do a refresh here, I'll see the name of the file appearing here. Okay. So that's the document I created. Okay. Let me just add one more Excel file, then also create one folder. If you want to create a folder too, just click on new and create a folder. Just folder 1. Okay, so here you can choose any color you want for the folder. By default, it comes with yellow color, but you can just change it to anything you want and then click on create. Okay, so waiting for that to create. So that has been created. So this is the Excel file that I've created. So I've created 3 items in this particular document library. Now I want to use this item to explain something. Okay, so coming back to this SharePoint Admin Center. Okay, now if you want to share any file, once you click on share, all right, and you click on settings here. Okay, so this is what I want to explain. Now, this is the sharing default. By default, can you see that it selected people in my organization, right? So let me go back here. Is this site? Okay. Okay, so by default, this link, this is the default sharing link I was trying to explain. And then if you go back, let me go back to this folder here, share this folder. Okay. So can you see that the default settings here for the default permission here is edit, right? So if you come here, choose the default, can you see it correlates with this what I have here, which is the default. Okay, the default sharing link. So at any point in time, if I want to say, okay, I want to share any file, once I click on share button here, the default permission that I will see there is going to be the edit, which of course I can change to whatever I want. I can change it to can view, but the default one, that is what this page is just talking about, that the default sharing permission. So we have other settings as well. We have the, if you want to choose expiration date for anything, any link you shared, then you're going to select this box and you put the number of days you want the link to expire. Maybe you have somebody working on a project with you and then you just want to share something with the person and you want him to have access for maybe 10 days or 20 days. Then you come here to specify this and then you click on your save button to effect the changes. Okay. And then, yeah, so these are all the default settings. Okay. We normally we leave this by default. So you can also change it to whatever you want. You can change to view. You can change it to view as well. But by default, this is what you're going to have. Okay. All right. So let me see any other thing I want to explain here before we go into the SharePoint site proper. Okay. We have access control. Yeah. So this is where you control some of the access. You want to restrict OneDrive restriction. You want to block somebody, want to block some people or your users from accessing your SharePoint from a particular IP location. This is where you do that. Okay. This is where you manage unmanaged device. You can restrict some devices from being accessing from accessing your SharePoint location. Okay. Then we also have settings. This is another core area in SharePoint. It contains like almost all the settings that control what happens in SharePoint environment. So if you look at this, this is the home site. This is where you can set the home site. It takes you to Office 365. So I want to click on this. Okay. Here, this is notification. You can set this to allow notification when people are using SharePoint on the mobile app to push notification or not. You can, whatever you want to do, you can just allow or disallow. It depends on what you want. This is pages. Okay. You have SharePoint pages. If you want people to be able to create pages, this is where you allow it. If you want to disallow it, this is where you control it. Okay. Also site creation. Okay, so normally we have two places where we can create SharePoint site. You can create SharePoint site from SharePoint Admin Center here. Okay, you can also create SharePoint site within the SharePoint environment. Okay, I'm just going there to show you now. So can you see the option to create? You can create site from here. You can also create, remember we create SharePoint site from active sites from SharePoint Admin Center earlier. So you can create it here, you can create it here as well. So if you want to block people from creating sites within the SharePoint site, so this is where you need to uncheck this and control the settings from here. Okay. Also, if you look at this option, you can control the type of site URL you have. Okay, you can say, okay, normally, if you look at the SharePoint site that we created, going back to the SharePoint site that we created, if you look at the URL, I want you to take note of the URL. This is the domain.sharepoint.com/site/SPO training. So this site, if you don't want this, some will say, okay, so SharePoint actually or Microsoft gives you opportunity to change this to something else. Okay, and that is the settings you have here. You can change it to Teams. Okay, it's just a way of switching. Some will say this is what they prefer. Some will say this is also whichever one you prefer will be what will appear in your URL once you finish creating the site. Okay. All right. So that's that about then. The storage limits. This is the storage limits. This is where you control the storage that you use on your SharePoint site. We have two types of this. We have the automatic, we have the manual. So this automatic is actually like the best option, okay, if you ask me, because you don't have to worry about anything. Once you put this on automatic, in as much you have storage, in as much you have storage available here in this location. Can you see where I'm hovering my mouse? In as much you have enough storage here, your SharePoint will continue to take storage as they need it from this particular pool of storage. But if you say, okay, you want to put it on manual, if you want to put it on manual, uh, yeah, if you want to put it on manual, that means you need to set specific storage for each of the sites. You can say, okay, for this particular site, you are putting 1 gigabyte. For another site, you are putting 2 gigabytes. As soon as the site exhausts the 1 gigabyte or the manual storage that you allocated to it, the SharePoint site will go into read-only mode. It will no longer be accessible to the user. So you start worrying, you start, what you need to do next is to allocate more storage. Okay, that's why I said if you put it on automatic, you don't have to worry about anything. Just allow the SharePoint site to take the storage as they want it. Let them take the storage. But if you put it on manual, that means at any point in time the storage is used up, you need to allocate more storage, or you start looking for a way to delete some unwanted items on the site. Okay, so this is where we control the storage limit on the site. All right, then the next one is version history. This is where you control the version history in your SharePoint sites. What is the number of major version you want to have is where you set it. Okay, and which other one? Notification. Yeah, seen this before, so I'm not going to touch OneDrive, so just SharePoint. All right, so then which other one? We have temp store here. Yeah, so temp store, basically this is what we use to tag items in SharePoint document library. You get to create some terms that you can use to categorize your items. You can use it to tag your items. So by the time we go deep into this training, we're going to create temp store, and you will see how you can use it to tag items to identify item. It's just like when you go to a pharmacy store and then you see different section, you see different items with label, with this, you understand? So in SharePoint, we have features that you can use to tag. So we use this to tag some of the items you create in your SharePoint and use to track them as well, you understand? Then you also have content type gallery. This is the home for all the content type you create. Okay, so talking about content type, this is where you design or you create the type of content that you want to create in your SharePoint site. By default, we have default content type. Just waiting for this to come up. We have default content type that, okay, by default, once you create the site, all these are default content type. Content type means that the available option, these are the available option for you to create your content. You know, the other time when we click on Word document, it created a Word document for us. When we click on Excel content type, it created. So these are the default content type. But if you say, okay, you want to create your own custom content type, maybe you have a special way you want your content to look like when you create it. So that is where you need to come here to create a content type, and then you specify the way you want it to look like. Then you add some columns to it. Okay. We're also going to go into this by the time we go deeper into this training. We're going to create some custom content type and see the way they works. Okay, so but for now we are leveraging on the default content type. So these are all the default content type. By the time you create your custom content type, it will appear here. You see it on this list that you can always use anytime you want to create your content. Okay, all right, so the next one here is migration. All right, so this is the environment that gives you opportunity to migrate data from other partners or other cloud providers. Okay, maybe from Dropbox, from Google Workspace, from Ignite. So it gives you opportunity to migrate your data from them, from those cloud provider to Office 365. And then you can also, it also gives you opportunity to migrate your files from file server, from file shares, from SharePoint server, from on-premise file shares. You understand? So it gives you opportunity. This is where you get to see the options. So we call all these are migration managers. Okay, for example, for file shares, this is the migration manager for file shares. Once you click on this, it gives you opportunity and options to do your migration. For Box, okay, this is the migration manager for Box. So this is for Stream. This is for Google Workspace. Let me see if I can just show you this briefly. So let's say you have items in Google Workspace that you want to migrate. So once you click on get started on this, then it gives you opportunity to go into that environment, and you connect to Google Workspace. Once you connect to Google Workspace and you also connect to Office 365, then you'll be able to do your migration successfully from that cloud provider to Office 365. So this is still taking time to load. Then we will check that later. Okay. So then you can also use SharePoint. We also have SharePoint migration too. Okay. So this gives you opportunity to migrate your data. Let's say maybe you have data in SharePoint Server 2010, 2013, or 2016. It gives you opportunity to migrate them over to SharePoint Online. Okay. So this is the tool that you're going to use. Once you download it, then you'll be able to use it. So let me see if I can show you the interface. I have it here. So once you download it, this is the SharePoint migration tool. No, come on, go back. Yeah. So this is the tool. This is how it looks like. Yeah. So this is the SharePoint migration tool. Once you launch it, then you see it will ask you to log in. Then you log in with your SharePoint admin account. Okay. Once you log in with that, then it's going to give you the interface where you're going to select the source of the migration, and then you pick the destination as well. Just waiting for this to come up. Okay, I will launch this later. Let's proceed. So please, you can remind me. Then apart from the migration, we have reports. This is where we have the report of what happens in your SharePoint environment, both SharePoint and OneDrive. You have all the reports here. Okay. Then I'm going to go to this. Yeah, this is where you see the report of sharing links, and the sensitivity label applies to files. Okay, so sensitivity label is just a way of creating some labels to also tag your items in your document library. You can tag them. Okay, this particular item, I want to tag it with this particular label. So, and at any point in time when anybody open that particular file, they'll get to see that label. If it's a confidential label, you can use that. If it's another label that allows everybody to be able to that allows external user to work on it. So you can create such label and use them to tag your items. Okay. Then I'm going to go into these more features. Okay, so we have a lot of information in these more features, but most importantly, we use this user profile. This user profile. Please, can you mute your mic? Okay. All right. So we have more features. Under more features, we have user profile, we have search. So this is where you control some activity that happens in OneDrive, in SharePoint. You understand? So you can disable OneDrive creation here. You can check for information about users OneDrive here. Okay, and look at this. This is search. Okay, this search. This is where you control the search functionalities in your SharePoint Online. Okay, talking about search. This is talking about. We're talking about this particular search. When you make any search, for example, here. Okay, this is when you make any search here and it becomes searchable, right? So this is where you control. This is what controls that particular feature. This is what controls that particular feature. When you click on it, then you take it to where you get information about the core properties of the items, the managed properties of the items that you've created. Okay, so I'm not going to go too deep into that because it's a bit advanced for us. So we get to see managed property, core properties, and the rest. Okay, so apps. This is the home for all the SharePoint apps that you install in your Office 365. The one you install from SharePoint SharePoint App Store. Okay, that's where you have them. Okay, and yeah, so these are some of the most relevant information or features that we have under this particular more features. Okay, so now let me go to this. Let me see if this is up. Yeah, this is the migration tool I was trying to explain. So it's finally up. So it gives you opportunity to migrate from SharePoint Server to SharePoint Online. You can also do migration from, if you have the files available locally on your system, you can also use this to migrate. So this is just, I just wanted to show us how the interface look like, and if you want to download it, you see this is the interface. Okay, so if you want to do migration, you select new migration, you select the source, you choose the folder, and then you just follow through the process. And then you select the destination. Let me just show us this. Let's say I want to migrate from this location, this PC. Let's say I want to migrate this. Select it. Then you click on next. Next. Then you select the destination. Then you do your migration. So it's just a way of showing us. I just wanted to show us the way it looks like when you download it. Okay. Then which other one do I want to mention here? Okay, so I think that will be all for now on this particular settings. Okay, it's just an overview of what you can do here. So if you have any question, you can let me know. But then I want to go back to this SharePoint side so that we can talk about. So we've seen like the way the backend looks like, some of the things that controls what happens there. We've seen it. Okay, now as soon as you create your SharePoint site, okay, I want to talk about this properly now. As soon as you create your SharePoint site, you saw the way we created it. You get to open it this way. Then you have a document library, you have conversation, you have notebook, you have pages, so all these are the default menu that comes with this. You can take out anyone that you don't want. You can say, okay, I don't want this. Then you get option to remove can rearrange, you can move up, move down, you can do whatever you want to do with this. Okay, you can say, okay, you can edit the name, you can put a link, you can edit, but it's not advisable to edit this particular default one, because it gets to corrupt some of the URLs. Okay, so you can create your own custom and name it the way you want it to be. Okay, so these are the options that are available. Then you can also enable audience targeting. Okay, that's a bit advanced as well. So this audience targeting, it's what you can use to control what people used to get to see on this particular page. Okay, you can limit what they can see on this particular SharePoint page by using this particular audience targets. Okay, all right. So this document library, like I mentioned the other time, this is where you get to store your items. Okay, this is the home for all the items you are creating in SharePoint site, and you have option to create here. This is one of the options. You can also use this option to upload items. Maybe you have the items available locally on your PC. You can use the upload option to upload those items, and then they will get to be in your let me see which of this get to be. So once you upload them, then you see them in this particular location. Yeah, so this is why I just uploaded. So you have option to create, you also have option to upload. You can upload files, you can upload folder. Understand? Then some of these items you can decide to edit them in grid view. Edit in grid view is just a way of saying, okay, I don't want to open this file, I just want to edit it from here. Let's say I have some column that I want to update. So let me exit first. Okay, so if you want to add columns, okay, you just come here. Columns is just a way of adding some other information to your document. Let's say this particular document, I have the modified by, I have the name of the file. So I want to add a status. Let's say I want to add status to this particular items. Okay, now I'll just click on it and create that particular column. Single line of text. We have so many types, so single line of text is fine. Just click on save. Then I just want to use this to explain this status. So if I want to edit in grid view, I can update this status here. I can say, okay, maybe I'm working on a particular project and say, okay, this project has started. Okay, started. All right. Then maybe this one has finished. So I can just update it here real time, and then once I'm done, I'm going to exit it. I can also open the file. Sorry, I can also select the file rather, and then come to this details pane and then update this particular status from here. Come up. Yeah, so I can just come here to click on. So this is the status. I can also update the status for me and say, okay, maybe I want to put done, and then so let me refresh. Okay, so that wasn't saved. Let me edit it again. Got. Okay, sorry, the file is locked. Yeah, so this is one of the issue, the error message we have. Anybody, any idea why this is locked? I didn't lock it. Okay, so the reason why this is showing locked is because I have the file open here. This is the file. I have it open, and I still at the same time I want to rename it, so it's not going to allow me. So I need to close it. That was why I was getting the error message. Okay, so I'm going to edit it again now. Then click on done. Then it should save now. So can you see that it's saved now, right? Yeah, so that's one of the things, one of the troubleshooting that you need to know. So whenever you open any particular file, you want to rename the file, you want to do something, you need to close it before you do that, okay? especially when it has to do with the column. Okay, so apart from uploading items, creating items, what other things can you do in SharePoint? Okay, so let me take us to home page. Let's go to the home page of this particular SharePoint site. Okay, all right, if you look at this home page, it's just the default home page. Maybe, for example, you have a page in mind that you want to design. That's okay. I want the page to look like this. I don't like this particular page. You have a page in mind that so if you want to create a custom page, SharePoint Online gives you the opportunity to create your own page and then use it on this particular site. Okay, so let's create a test page. Come to pages. Come to pages, then you come to new. You can create new site page. All right, so here you're going to add a title for this to prepare. So the page is still loading, that's why. Okay, so let's say we want to call this SharePoint Online Training 2025. Okay, so that's the name of the page. And then on this page, maybe we have something in mind. We want to add, oh, sorry. Let me rename it SharePoint Online Training 2025. Okay, so let's say we want to add some other information. Want to add maybe some images to the page, just to design the page. Okay, let me pick this hero web parts here, so you can add image. So we have some default images that you can use. You can also download your own image and use it. Okay, depending on what you want, but we're going to be making use of this default one. Okay, just to save our time. So we have so many images. Let me use this for example. Then you click on this and insert. Okay, all right, so you have opportunity to add more than one image. Let's say I want to add another image. Just want to design that page. So I want to use this as well. Okay, so once you are done, if there's any other thing you want to add to the page, so once you are done with this, then you can click on publish. Okay, at this particular page, it's going to publish the page. All right, so this is how the page is going to look like. You can still add other design, other things to the page. Okay, but this is just like a test for us to see how it works. Okay, so once you are done creating that page, you go to your pages. You will see the page that you just created under pages. Okay, so this is the page, SharePoint Online. Okay, so for now, this is the home page that I'm using for my site. This is the home page. If I go here, you see that if I click on this, this is the home page I'm currently using. So I can decide to change it to something else, to the page I just created. So let's change the home page to the page that we just created. So all you need to do is just to come to that page that you just created, click on these three dots and then make it home page. So you allow it to update. So it is updated. Then if you come to this home page now, you see that the page would have changed to the one we just created. Okay, so many things you can do. You can create your own custom page. It's not necessary that you use the default page that comes with the site. In fact, most organizations, what they do is they have their own customized page that they use for their intranet page. Okay, so another thing is, yeah, so let me go back to this document library. let me show us how we can share some of the items that we have in the document library. Okay. All right. So let's say I want to share this item. I want to share this item. There are so many ways you can share this. Okay. You can either select this item and click on the share button at the top here. It's going to give you the same results. Give you this. You can also come to these three dots here and click on share. Right. It's going to give you opportunity to share as well. So whichever one you want to use, you can use it. So you are not limited to one option. So let's say I want to share with somebody on this call. I will just put the name of the person. Let's say I want to share with this person. This is an external email address. Okay, I just put it here. Can you see? It said this person is outside my organization, right? I said no problem. Continue. All right. So because the reason why I'm able to do that is because external sharing is enabled on this particular site. Then I'll be able to share. All right. So if I don't want external sharing, if I don't want people to be able to share this file externally now, I only want them to share with people in the organization. What I will do, don't forget, I mentioned it when we were here in the active sites. Let's look for that site. Let's change the, if we change the settings to, no, don't open it. So I want to change the sharing settings now. So if you come to the settings there, if you go to more sharing settings, okay, it allows new and existing guests. So I don't want people to be able to share it externally. So let me put it here. Only people in my organization. Then I'll click on save. Okay. Then if I go back to the site, where's the site? Okay. So let me try to share again. Let's refresh so that it can take effort. So let me try to share this same file again with somebody outside my organization. Let's say, let me share with that same guy. Can you see? You can only share within your organization because I have set it to only share with people in my organization, right? So this is where you control, like I said the other time, whatever happens in your SharePoint side, this is where you control it. This is the backend, okay? So let's proceed. Then we also have site content. I'm going to mention site content. So this is what is hosting all the items you have in your SharePoint You have the document library, you have the site asset, you have the form template. So, but the most important thing here is any images that you have in your SharePoint site. This is where you get to see all those images. Okay, this is the pages. This is what hosts all the pages that you have on your SharePoint site. Currently, I have 3 pages, and this is why you have 3 here. Then here, documents are 4 items in this particular document library. Okay, so if I open it, you see those 4 documents. Can you see 1, 2, 3, 4 items? All right. So now let's go back to this home page. Yeah, no, before I go back to the home page, let me just follow this trend. So after the site content, we have the cycle bin, right? I have the cycle bin. Okay. There are 2 stages of the cycle bin in SharePoint. We have the first stage. This is the first stage that you are seeing here, and this is the second stage, recycle bin. It's always at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so at any point in time you delete any items, first of all it comes to this first stage recycle bin. When you delete from this first stage recycle bin and it moves to this second stage recycle bin, let's do it so that you can see. So let's say I want to delete this item. I'll click on it, then click on delete here. No, sorry, delete should be here. This is delete as well. So I'm deleting that items. Okay, so I will see it in the recycle bin, the very first stage recycle bin. This is it, right? So if I delete this item now again from here, if I want to restore it, I can restore from here. Okay, but let's say I want to delete it again. I'll delete it again. Then it goes to second stage recycle bin. Okay. So if I go to second stage, I see it. So if I delete this item from here, then it will be permanently deleted. If I leave this item here, if I don't do anything, after 93 days, it's going to disappear from here. It will be permanently deleted. So if I delete this now, that means it's permanently gone. And if I want to restore, I have the opportunity to restore as well. Okay. Then we also have opportunity of creating retention policies to retain any items deleted there, but that's at an advanced level. Okay. We're likely going to touch that by the time we go deeper in this. There's a way you can create a retention policy to keep any item that you delete here. Instead of it to be permanently deleted, it will go to a place that we call preservation hold library. Preservation hold library. So when you create a retention policy and apply it to this particular site, okay, say keep items on this particular site for 10 years, for any number of years you want. So as soon as you delete any item from here, which is meant to be deleted permanently, instead of it to be deleted permanently, it will go to that preservation library and be retained there for the number of years you have specified. So at any point in time you need it, you just go to that place and then restore it from there. Understand? So that is that about that. Okay. So I'm going to stop here for now. I want to welcome one or two questions. If you have any question, any clarification, the floor is yours. Let's interact. I hope I am audible. Hello?
You're not alone, sir.
Am I alone? All right, so I want people to ask questions. Let's see if you understand what we've been saying so far. So feel free to ask any question you want to ask or anything you need clarification. Yeah. The information is too much, right? Okay, let me people don't like most people don't like to talk. I'll call names. I'll call names. Tobiloba. Okay, yeah, Temitope, please shoot. Yeah, if you are speaking, Temitope, you are speaking on mute. Unmute your mic, yeah.
Hi, listen. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay, so I don't know if I actually, because I think I was a little bit knocked off at some point. The migration part.
Mhm.
So please, can you just give a brief summary of that migration part? Sorry.
Okay. So from the admin center, the migration. Okay. So the summary about this, we have a migration manager for almost all the other cloud provider. You know, Microsoft is a cloud provider on their own. So we also have other cloud providers like Google Workspace. We have Box. Okay, this is for one, just like OneDrive. This is Box. Okay, where you store your files. We have Dropbox. We have Ignite. We have so many of them. Okay, but these are the most common ones. Okay, so if you want to, let's say for example, you as an administrator or you as a technical support engineer, you have a customer or you have someone consult you to help him or her to migrate from any of these cloud provider to Office 365, for example, to SharePoint or to OneDrive. So this is where you need to come to use the migration, okay, to perform the migration. All right, so let's say for example we want to migrate from Google Workspace. Okay, once you click on get started here, it will take you to a platform where you see the migration manager. On it the other time, it was taking time. Let me see. Let me open. Okay, so I'm just waiting for it to come up. I don't know why. Yeah, it's taking. Yeah, it's connecting now. So once you click on that migration, get started, it will take you to this particular platform. Okay, so this environment will give you opportunity. You will see options to connect to your cloud provider. For example, now we are using Google Drive as an example. So you will be able to connect with Google Drive and scan all your files. See, connect to Google Drive. Okay, so once you click on connect to Google Drive, you're going to install this and click on next. Once you do all that, then an application, the migration manager application will be installed, and then you'll be able to perform the migration from Google Drive to either Office 3, either OneDrive or SharePoint. Okay, I think I have some drive here. Let me see if I've not deleted any of them. Yeah, I think it's been deleted. So this is just the interface. Okay, so the summary of it is this environment gives you opportunity to migrate from Google Drive, for example, we are using it as an example, to either SharePoint or OneDrive. Okay, yeah. So whenever you have any query or any query regarding migration from other cloud provider, this is where you come to select the type of migration that you want to perform, and then you'll be able to follow through the steps and then perform the migration. I hope I've answered your questions.
Yes, yes, thank you very much. So, just to be sure, so we can actually use this to migrate on-prem file server to SharePoint Online, right?
Correct. Yes. So for that, you have two options. You can either use this file share, or you use this SharePoint migration tool. This one that I showed, that I downloaded. You need to download this. So if it's SharePoint 2013, if it's SharePoint 2013 or 2016, you need to use this application. But if it can also, this also, let me differentiate the two. This one will allow you to migrate from SharePoint Server 2010, 2013. If you have your files there, it will help you to migrate them to SharePoint Online to OneDrive. It can also help you to migrate from file share or file server. Okay, but this one will only allow you to migrate from file server or file share. It doesn't allow you to migrate from SharePoint server. This is the only one that supports SharePoint server. So this one is like 2-in-1. It supports SharePoint server and file share, but this only allows you to migrate file server to SharePoint Online or to OneDrive.
All right, brilliant. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question from anyone? So Obi, are you with us? Obi Ambrose, are you with us?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So, do you have any concern, like, you have any questions? Anyone, any question? I don't want to be calling names. I just want to be sure people are here. They're not just joining and they're not following. So, do you have any question, any concern?
For now, I don't have any question, but if anything comes up, I'll let you know, sir.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, so for now, since we don't have any question, so hold on, let me see. Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So I have one question. Is it possible to completely customize the URL for a SharePoint site? Should it, for example, like an intranet now created with on SharePoint site, is it possible to remove this HTTPS / something SharePoint.com? Then that can you just customize it completely and just make it maybe, for example, Facebook.com?
Okay. So currently, that is not possible. It's not possible because the way it is structured, the architecture behind this suggests that it must have this URL. This URL is not just formulated like this. It comes from your domain. You know, when you subscribe to Office 365, you get to use your custom domain, right? You verified it, and then so SharePoint is picking this from your custom domain that you've added to your tenant when you subscribe to it. So for now, it's not possible to rename it, to change this format. It must be this format for now. This is the way by design. It's not possible to change it to any other format. It must follow this structure, this pattern rather. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. Any other person? Any other question? Okay, let's go ahead.
There's
Alexander.
a question in the chat box.
Hello? Okay, there's a message in the chat box. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. Let me see. Thank you for is there a way to make is it the last one? Okay. Is it from Taufik? Thank you. Is there a way to migrate SharePoint Online to other platforms? Oh, okay. To other platform. Okay, so it's possible. Yeah, it's possible. But none of these two, let me go back to that. None of these default two can do that. None of these two can migrate outside. So all these tools are designed to migrate into SharePoint, into OneDrive. So to migrate outside now is going to either require you to use a manual approach. You can download the items from SharePoint Online. You can download them, right? You have option to download. You can download the items, then upload to whatever location outside the SharePoint that you want to upload it to. You understand? That's the manual approach. Then you can also use third party. Okay, there are so many third party outside there that you can search for, that you can look for to migrate from, SharePoint Online to other location. Okay, but so far all the migration managers they don't support migrating from SharePoint to other platform like outside. Yeah. Now we get the recording. Yeah, so Kingsley is going to do justice to that after the training. Okay. All right. So what I want
Question.
to say now, okay, you have a question? Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yes, somebody was talking about, customizing the URL, the SharePoint URL. And then my question is, at some point you might want to tweak or, modify the URL and all of that, and then the site becomes broken. You can actually break that site. And if it's a site that is really, really important to the organization and all of that, how do you tend to fix that broken site? Like, how can you fix a broken site?
Okay, so it depends on what you are trying to do. So if this is what you're referring to, like, I already mentioned that the complete URL is not possible. You can't change the structure. So, but if you've changed the name, let's say for example, you change the name from SPO training, okay, to maybe OneDrive training, for example, you change it from that, and that breaks. Normally it's not meant to break the site. Okay, it's either it doesn't work or it remained the way it was before. You understand? But in the situation whereby it breaks the URL, probably probably it becomes inaccessible, or maybe it was deleted. Okay, because so far the worst that can happen is either the name doesn't work, the renaming doesn't work. It's not that it's not going to let anybody to have access to that site again. So it's either the renaming failed. If you try to rename it, it's either it failed, it doesn't work, or it gets deleted alongside. Okay, so what you can do, if the site renaming doesn't work, then you can use another one. Okay, so most time if you try to rename it from the GUI, if it doesn't work, you can use PowerShell command to rename it. And if in the process of renaming it, the site gets deleted, so all you need to do is just to go to the deleted site here and delete and restore it. Okay, also talking about the worst scenario that can happen, which I think I've not seen before, it's like the site will not become accessible again. Like nobody will be able to access it. Then that would require the backend assistance. Okay, so if the site is really 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 important and you can't do without it, so you will need to engage Microsoft to see what they can do to restore the site. Okay, there's something we called restore. There's a site restore that can be done from the backend. Okay, so the site can be restored to a point in time where it was still working as expected. So the restore can be done and then the site will be fine. You understand? So that's what can be done.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Please, are we going to be able to get trial tenant for this? Okay, question for Kingsley. Hello, Kingsley, are you there? Are you? Hello? I'm not sure Kingsley is there. All right, so regarding trial tenant for this training, yeah, this is very important actually. So because all these things we are mentioning, it will just be as if um, you're just watching it. If we don't practicalize it, because knowing SharePoint, if you really want to know SharePoint, it involves you reproducing the issues, like doing everything you have been taught. You scatter the tenants, scatter the site, work on, do delete and restore. You understand? You just move around, navigate here and there to see how each of these applications, each of these feature works. You understand? So there are so many features that, in fact, no one can cover everything, in fact, in months. You understand? But by the time you get your trial tenants, you understand, you begin to troubleshoot, you begin to click on this, click on that, and then you will be able to discover so many things and see how they work. Okay. So the trial tenant is very important. So I think Kingsley is going to work on that. Yeah. So someone just replied now. So Kingsley is going to work on that and let you guys know about it. Okay. So any other concern, any other question? So once you get your trial or test environment, I want to give us a short assignment. You don't need to submit it, it's just for your personal growth. Okay. So just create a SharePoint site. Create a SharePoint site, just like we've done today. Create a SharePoint site. All right. And then add some web parts to it. Some web part, we have so many web parts like we did earlier. Add web parts to it, publish it, create document library. Okay, I think I've not shown us how to create document library. Let me quickly show you that. Your own custom document library, apart from the default one that comes with the site. Okay, so this is it here. If you want to create your own custom document library, you don't want to use the default one. When you come to this site content here, now you see this option. See this option here to create your own document library. All right, so you can name it anything you want. You can say blank library. Let's say new documents library. Now, if you want to put description, you put it there. If you want it to apply on the left menu here, you leave this as it is. Then you click on create. Okay. So once you create it, it will appear here. Yeah, so this is it. So you can begin to add items, upload items, do whatever you want to do with it. Okay. So let me see. Hold on one second. Kingsley is saying something. Someone is saying something in the chats. I'm unable to view SharePoint. Also, must it be work or school accounts? So for you to be able to, let me see this. For you to be able to access this, I think I mentioned this earlier. For you to be able to see all these applications here. So someone is asking that, do you need to have a work or school account for you to be? So once you have a subscription, the most important thing is you must have a subscription, like Microsoft 365 license. Once you have the license assigned to your account, you come here, you see all these applications available for you, and then from there you see SharePoint application. Then you'll be able to access it from there. Okay, so that's the most important thing. So what's the difference between team site and communication site? Yeah, so one of the major difference is, I mentioned team site always comes with Office 365 groups. Team site always comes with Office 365 groups, while communication site doesn't come with Office 365 groups. One of the benefits of the Office 365 group is for people to have access. Okay, it gives them access to the resources on the tenant through the group. So you can just add someone as a member of a group, and then he will have access to the site. You'll be able to access the site. But communication site doesn't have that feature of 365 group. Then another difference is most companies use communication site as intranet. Okay, as their intranet site. Let me just let's just let me go here. Let me go here so that I can just show you. So most companies, they use it as their intranet site to design their intranet, and mostly they use it for internal communication. No, something when you say intranet is within your organization. So most companies they use it for intranet. But when it comes to like real collaborations outside, within and outside the organization, you use team site. You understand? It's not that you cannot use the two of them for external collaboration. You can use the two of them for external collaboration. You can use the two of them for internal collaboration. You understand? But what really differentiated them is the group, the Office 365 groups that is attached to one. So as soon as you create, okay, the SPO that we created, for example, let me show us this SPO training that we created. Okay, it's a team site. If you look at the template, so it comes with Office 365 group. Let me show us the group. So if you go back to Office 365 and you go to teams and groups, you will see that group there called SPO training. So if I search for, I don't even need to search, it's here. Can you see? This is the group SPO training. You understand? So, but for communication sites, if you create communication site, it doesn't come with that. You understand? And also another thing that differentiates them is the look. Let me show. Let's create one communication site so that you can see. This is the communication site. Okay. Sure. Okay. It's creating this already. All right, so I think I called it SPO. Okay. So if you look at the template, the interface now, the structure and the interface, I'm just going to compare the two so that you can see. So this is one of the things that differentiated it. If you look at the navigation here, the top navigation is here. But for team site, the top navigation is, oh, let me go back to this, save and close. Yeah, SPO training. Okay, so if you look at this navigation menu, this menu for team site, it's on the left menu, but for communication site, it's at the top navigation. You understand? That's another thing that differentiated it, apart from the fact that this does not have Office 365 group. So sorry, I got disconnected. I'm not sure what happened. All right, so I was explaining the difference between the communication sites and team sites. So the major difference, like I said, was the Office 365 group that is connected to Teams site, why communication site doesn't have that. Okay. The another thing is the navigation. Communication site has a navigation at the top level, why Team site has the navigation on the left menu. Okay. So these are just some of the major difference between the communication sites. But apart from this, they can perform the same function, like almost the same function. They can collaborate, you can store your files, you can share internally, you can share items externally in the two sites. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Alexander. So do we have any other question before we wrap it up? So that as soon as you get your trial environment or test environment, so try to reproduce some of these things. And by the time we meet next week, if you have any concern or anything you want to ask, then you can bring it up. Okay. All right. So thank you everyone for your time today. So we'll meet again next week to further work on these to work on OneDrive. So next week we'll be taking OneDrive. Okay, we've talked about OneDrive, how you can create OneDrive, how you can have access to OneDrive, you can share files from OneDrive, how you can do so many things in OneDrive. We're going to work on that as well. Okay, and now you can control some of the settings from Admin Center. All right, thank you so much for your time, and see you next week. Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Bye.
Welcome. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you, Sal.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for your time taken. Thank you very much. We really appreciate